It's a reunion of old friends.
It's been a long time.
They all have one of the rarest diseases on Earth.
My jaw is completely fused.
My leg is fused at the hip.
That's the limit of motion I've got.
Their condition causes their muscles, ligaments, and tendons to become bone, turning their bodies rock hard.
We're turning to a human statue. We can't move.
The three friends suffer from a disease known as FOP. There are only 700 known cases in the world. Almost half of them are in the U.S. Ashley Kerpiel lives outside Atlanta, Georgia. As a toddler, her arm was amputated after doctors misdiagnosed her with cancer. They missed the telltale signature of FOP disease, a crooked big toe. Now her muscles have started hardening into bone.
I cannot move this arm away from my body. It's like super glued to my side, my upper arm, because it does not move.
Her neck and spine are now fused. 5 years ago, Ashley's leg got stuck in this bent position.
It's stuck, and that thigh is rock hard bone.
A 4-inch platform shoe enables her to walk. The 30-year-old showed us how she uses a drawer handle to take off her pants. A convenient closet doorknob helps her get them back on.
This is it for movement in the shoulders.
Patrick Doerr's jaw is nearly frozen shut.
Just enough to talk.
His mom, Gretchen, a pediatric nurse, was heartbroken when he was diagnosed.
He was 17 and big and burly, and the next thing you know, he's in such severe pain.
She watched helplessly as his muscles and joints turned to solid bone.
Very intense swelling, very intense pain.
At 52, Nancy Sando is one of the oldest living people with FOP. She inches her way toward the bed. Her body is stiff as a board.
God has given me the ability to find the joys in the little things in life.
It's a tremendous hardship. FOP is a devastating disease.
Dr. Frederick Kaplan of the University of Pennsylvania is the leader in the fight against the disease and personally sees to every case.
We adored Nancy and Ashley and Patrick. I mean, they're all testimonies to the human spirit. They're shining examples of what human beings can do when they're faced with such incredible adversity.
With the reunion set, getting there would prove quite an undertaking. Nancy and her caregiver left Michigan's Upper Peninsula, driving 3 hours in her minivan. Ashley gets a little help down the jetway in Atlanta, then walks on board her flight and takes her seat. Patrick boarded his plane in Philadelphia, and when he found his seat, the 30-year-old accountant enjoyed a drink with his own ingenious invention.
I've got a lot of pride. I have a lot of ability.
The three friends finally made it to Detroit and settled in at their hotel. They shared techniques for doing all the things we all take for granted. They gathered by the pool. Ashley took a refreshing swim. Dinner proves the most challenging of all, since Patrick and Nancy's jaws are all but fused shut. They first use their lips to mash the food against their teeth, then push it through gaps. And everywhere they go, they draw inspiration from each other. It helps to know that they're not alone. The dance party is in full swing. The DJ gets the crowd moving, shaking, and spinning. But this is a dance unlike any you've ever seen. The partygoers were all born with a rare disease called FOP. It's caused by a gene defect that is gradually turning their bodies into rock-hard bone. They call themselves FOPers. They're also known as the human statues or petrified people, names they do not particularly like. 59 of these brave souls have come from across the country to Orlando, Florida for their 25th annual convention. There are only 800 such people alive in the world today afflicted with FOP.
We're human beings turning physically into a human statue.
32-year-old Ashley Kerpiel's arm was amputated. Her leg, neck, and spine are now rock-hard bone. Ashley came with her family.
Love my sister.
Getting into the pool isn't easy, but Ashley's game for playing splish splash.
It's hard for me to play with her when I can't do a whole lot, so at least it's something I can do with her.
Most heartbreaking of all is seeing the devastating effects on young children. It begins with FOP's signature diagnosis, a crooked big toe. The youngest FOPer at the convention is 3-year-old William Ellicott from Oregon. William's right arm is permanently stuck in this position. His back is riddled with bone growth. His mom, Katrina, says most people don't understand what's wrong with her little boy.
Did he break an arm or? So I do a lot of explaining.
You look good, Chris. It looks really nice.
23-year-old Chris Michelle from New Jersey shows off a daring Victoria's Secret bikini.
Because it's sexy.
At 57, John Redding is one of the oldest of the conventioneers in attendance. He even crafted a spoon with a golf club to make it easier to eat. 18-year-old Brianne LaChance has to force food into her mouth because her jaw is fused shut.
I can't open my mouth.
Dr. Fred Kaplan is the world's leading expert on the disease. Treating these patients requires scientific knowledge and a lot of heart. Getting ready for the convention is a big undertaking. Ashley's mom helped slip on a new robotic arm. Then it was time to join the party. There they were, her fellow patients having a great time on the dance floor. Chris had changed out of her bikini and was wearing a zebra-patterned cocktail dress. And 3-year-old William, he was dancing up a storm and making new friends, having a great time, comforted by the fact that he was not alone. It's a wedding day this bride has always dreamed about, but walking down the aisle is a struggle.
You're the reason I get up in the morning, the reason I keep pushing forward in life every day.
Those vows have an extra special meaning.
The vows show that, the things that we've gone through already and the things that we're going to be continuing to go through.
Kathy Ford has an incurable disease called FOP, which is gradually turning her body into bone as hard and solid as stone. She can't move her arms. Kathy's jaw is locked, as is her mouth.
That's it.
Her legs and hips are also locked. She never thought she would meet Mr. Right.
I didn't think anybody'd be willing to deal with my disease.
But none of that mattered to Chuck. They met on the dating website okcupid.com in 2013, and he popped the question 6 months later.
She's got the most beautiful heart, mind, soul. And that's what I fell in love with. Ready?
Chuck tends to all of Kathy's needs. The 30-year-old works as a 911 dispatcher and lives an active life, from vacuuming to preparing lunch. Since Kathy can't bend her body, getting into a car is a challenge. But they have the routine down and relish a beautiful day on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. There are only 800 known cases of FOP worldwide, and this is another victim of this cruel disease. Looking at a beaming Holly LaPrade walking down the aisle at her wedding in 2012, you really couldn't tell that she had also been diagnosed with FOP.
It kind of felt like a fairy tale coming true.
I love her with all my heart, and I believe we're like two peas in a pod. We'd probably be lost without each other.
But just 1 year later, her mobility was just about gone. Her hip, knee, and leg are locked.
Marriage is hard enough, but then throwing FOP into the equation with it, obviously it makes things a lot more difficult. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What a contrast to the bride who walked down the aisle and danced in her wedding gown. Now every move is a struggle.
How's it feel?
Her husband Tim brushes her hair.
So if there's
Kathy,
no one
who works for the family construction business, has grippers situated around her house to help her pick up dropped items. She also has a device to help her get socks on, a daily challenge.
A lot of times with FOP you just have to laugh because otherwise you want to cry.
At their North Haven, Connecticut home, Tim is building a ramp for the day when walking becomes completely impossible.
Together we're stronger. If we can handle this, we can pretty much handle anything.
Both couples take one day at a time, proving love can conquer all.